Hi, I'm Stephen Ramirez. I'm the CEO of Beyond the Arc, and I'm thrilled to be here today at Finovate in New York. It's the biggest and perhaps best Finovate ever, and this conversation I'm really looking forward to. Jonathan Alloy, now of Credit Suisse, you've been in the industry for a long time at a lot of places. Thank you very much for joining me.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm really glad we're back in person.
Yeah, so one of the things I have a deep passion for that I know you share is customer experience in banking. Let's just start there. So what's your take on the current status? Have banks finally gotten it? Is customer experience on the corporate agenda?
It needs to be more than it is. I think the people in charge get it. Where they're having trouble is shaking the money loose to really put the dollars behind to invest in it. We're still using a lot of jargon. We're still very siloed. We're still looking at things from the bank point of view rather than the customer point of view. You can see that when you go shopping and make payments, when you make purchases. It's still a very fragmented and frankly unenjoyable experience in a lot of cases. There's huge potential and opportunity for banks to transform that or for fintechs to come in and transform that.
Yeah, now 10 years ago, I think that there was a thinking that we could revolutionize customer experience through a fintech solution, right? And that the bank should build that solution. Like, yes, we can build it and we will develop this great new customer experience. I don't know if it's exactly panned out that way, and I think a more successful path is partnering with a fintech. But that's not an easy path, is it? So particularly from the fintech side, how does a fintech work with a bank to be able to get a solution in front of customers?
So this is the most crucial where the rubber hits the road. Fintechs or any new entrant into the banking industry really needs to understand that banks have two separate departments at the highest level. There's a group that likes risk. That's the front office, the people who take deposits, make loans, trade securities. They thrive on correctly evaluating risk. The back office, by contrast, thrives on minimizing risk. They're looking for reasons to say no to protect the bank's integrity, its reputation, its cybersecurity, and its trust with customers. So they're going to say no to things even if they're innovative because it violates a policy that they're incented by the bank to uphold. Maybe it's only available in the cloud and the bank only allows things that are on-prem. That's a very common example. So when you're developing a solution, you have to understand the risk profile of who in the bank has the authority to say yes.
Now, I think that digital banking has come a long way in the last 15 or 20 years. What is it about digital banking that really excites you today? Like, what's interesting, what's innovative?
I think the biggest opportunity right now in some ways remains where it was 20 years ago, which is increasingly being where the customer is to enable us to deliver financial services when, where, and how they want to consume it, not just how we want to provide it. And that's an important distinction, whether it's through mobile payments, through white labeling, whatever the case may be. It's a matter of getting out in front of the traditional banking silos, breaking down the walls we have internally, and getting out in the world to understand it from their point of view. I'll give you a quick analogy or a quick example, if I might. I recently moved from California to Connecticut and bought a house. One bank was willing to close with me anywhere in the world. They would send the paperwork to where I was and have a notary let me sign it. Another bank said, no, you have to fly to Connecticut and sign the papers in person. A third bank said, we can do everything over DocuSign. Which is the best experience for the customer, recognizing that from a bank's perspective, the back-end technology is all the same. The regulatory compliance is all the same.
I'm gonna guess that you did not choose to fly out to put a wet signature on some documents. I don't know. I'm just
that
guessing.
Is correct.
That
is correct.
That's the case.
I'm leaving the name of the banks out of it, But the point is that when we look at the world through the eyes of how customers want to make purchases and payments and take out loans and invest for retirement, we're going to learn things that we don't get if we stay in our silos.
Now, Jonathan, it's not easy for banks, though, to put themselves in the customer's shoes, right? It's much easier said than done. I know you have a long history of doing just that. Any tips for banks or credit unions that want to actually think like a customer? Like, how do they get started? What path do they take? How does it work best?
The number one best thing I could encourage everybody to do is go shopping yourself. So your CEOs, your CXOs, your executive team, your management team, your middle managers, your frontline employees, everybody should be required to go out and from another bank that's not you as well as you, sign up for a new checking account, get a debit card and a credit card, take out a loan, buy a car, whatever your personal financial needs are, and think about, was this experience enjoyable or tolerable? In most cases, what we find is that for most people, banking is barely tolerable. So when somebody comes along with an innovative new idea or a new approach that makes it just that much more better, they're going to win great share. A great example of how people in banking can understand the difference of how it looks to the customer versus how it looks to the bank is going out here in New York and taking a ride on the subway. You can go down into the Times Square subway station, wait in line, go to a ticket booth, buy a ticket with your debit or credit card, then swipe that card to get into the turnstile. Or you can go up, tap your smartwatch, and walk right through. Now, I don't discount the equity issues and the privacy issues associated with smartwatches. The point is, though, both of those payments on the back end go through the same transaction rails, but the front end customer experience, very different. Which one is more enjoyable?
Yeah, great example. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here at Finovate, and I really appreciate everybody joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephen.
Thanks.